Hello, hello, happy Monday night, happy full moon energy. Not quite to the lunar eclipse yet. Thanks for joining me for this fun night of reading cards. I am going to be pulling a card for those of you who can jump on with me live. This is a wonderful, wonderful time to take a moment to pause and tune into exactly what isn't serving your highest, because tomorrow, when we have the experience of the full moon apex, we're already in the window of it. It's a 3-day window. The full moon apex is tomorrow around 5:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The eclipse, it's a partial lunar eclipse, and those of us in North America, I don't think we'll be able to see it, but at least from what I've seen so far. But we'll feel the effects of like the full eclipse, so to speak, like when it happens, that partial lunar eclipse later on in the evening. Hello, Deanna. Thanks for joining me. And hello, Michelle. I feel kind of silly because my eyeshadow is really crazy. Oh, perfect for reading tarot. My daughter's gotten me into these hollow colors. So thanks for joining. So Deanna, yeah, take any positive changes. And that's wonderful, because here's the thing. Many of us, the last time that we've been in this energetic position with the stars aligned as they are, it's been a while, right? This has been a challenging, long journey for many of us, coming against a lot of obstacles, showing up and trying our best only to continue to hit walls. And tomorrow, the full moon lunar eclipse is going to shake things up. And if there have been things in your world that aren't in alignment with your heart, they will be kind of shaken loose. Some of us are already tuned in to the idea of, what should I be aware of? What might be ready to leave? Because with a full moon in general, it's a time of letting go. It's a time of releasing. Add in the fact that it's an eclipse, and then all of a sudden what starts to happen, thanks Alicia and Chanel, good to have you. Then what starts to happen with the eclipse is it's like a spiritual earthquake. All of a sudden things start to get brought up to the surface, things that we weren't aware of. And because it's also in Mercury in retrograde, it's a great opportunity for reflection, for pausing for a moment to rest, and to really reevaluate, are we on the journey that our heart desires? Because sometimes we get stuck in a path where what ends up happening is we have this goal, and it might be the goal of, I desperately want a degree, right? Maybe it's a master's degree, maybe it's a bachelor's, maybe it's just a certification in something, and you're going because those letters after your name, whether it's an RYT or a PhD or a LCP, whatever it is. It's that intention, it's that feeling like I'll be successful when I have those letters. But what you discover is that your heart's really not behind that. Your heart wants something else. So if you take a moment to tune into those periods in your life, to reflect when you were almost like down on your hands and knees, praying and wishing and hoping for something, that's a heart's desire. It's a little bit different on an energetic level. All right. Wonderful. Alicia, you're saying, no wonder all your oracle cards pull have been saying to stop and slow down. Yes, big time of slowing down. Winifred, oh my God, how fantastic to have you. Winifred is an amazing tarot reader. She has an incredible shop in the Massachusetts area. Winifred, I'm so glad you're here. Oh my goodness. And Tammy, hello, and Elle, and Pamela, and Liz, and Wendy. Oh, I'm so glad all of you are here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling cards. So Deanna, since you were on first, I'm gonna just hold the question of what is the most important thing that you're aware of with this full moon lunar eclipse. So that could just be anything in general, what's coming up for Deanna. All right, fantastic. Page of Pentacles. So with the Page of Pentacles, this is a card that is paying attention to details, and you might discover there's something that you're learning to study and to learn, something that's caught your eye that you want to take a little bit more time to educate yourself on. So take a moment and see if anything like that is coming up for you. But this is just a moment of Pentacles as well, representing Earth, is slowing down, taking it, no rush. He's not running anywhere, but he's simply looking at the information in hand, paying attention to the details. So there might be something coming up for you. The most important thing to be aware of is something that you might want to increase education around, possible certifications or learning something to sharpen your skill set. All right, Michelle, hello. All right, so for Michelle, what is the most important thing that she know during this lunar eclipse? All right, the Magician. This is a fun card, Michelle. This is a card that is about focus, a laser beam focus, because there's master manifestation with this. He has access to all of these elements. You see, he's got all of the elements represented on the table of the cups for water, the earth for pentacles, the sword for the air, and the wands for fire, and then that connection to spirit, the beautiful infinity symbol over his head. And he's pointing to the heavens and he's pointing to the earth. And what he's saying is that right now you have the ability to be a direct channel for inspiration and manifest it into physical being if you focus. You have all the tools you need right at hand. So that's an exciting card to get, Michelle. Wonderful. And Chanel, so great to have you. I'm gonna clear the cards. I love to do that in between readings. Sometimes I'll just knock 3 times and sometimes I'll shuffle Vegas style. All right, so what's the most important thing that Chanel know going into this full moon lunar eclipse energy? Ooh, beautiful cards tonight. The World. This is the penultimate of the tarot deck. So the tarot tells a story. It goes all the way from the 0, which is the beginning of the adventure, the Fool energy, which is really that taking a leap of faith, coming full circle to the world. It's this whole journey. So Chanel, what's coming up for you right now is it's saying something has completed. You have completed a cycle. You have the opportunity to really feel good about letting go of something in your life that feels like, oh, you know what? This is done. I've completed it. This part of my life is changing, it's shifting, it's transitioning. I don't want to say it's over because there's always so many different layers to our experience, but something amazing has completed within your life. So take a moment to honor that and allow yourself the opportunity to let it go. Wonderful. All right, Alicia. Okay, so I'm going to pull for you. Alicia, what's the one most important thing that she know going into this full moon lunar eclipse energy? Oh, you got the Magician card too. Oh, so much fun. So with the Magician card, so remember, we can pull the same exact card and get a different story, a different meaning. That's part of where the intuitive reading comes into it. What I'm finding for you with this is, ooh, and it's hopping out of my hand. It's a hot one. It really likes you. What I'm really tuning in for you, Alicia, with this is, like when they say, put on your thinking cap. It's a great time for you to daydream, for you to sit by, I'm getting the water, but I know you go hiking a lot. So if there's a creek, to take that moment to have the space. So part of the full moon is making space or making room, letting go of things so that new things can come in. And right now it seems like it's a headspace. So kind of getting out of the craziness of the everyday cycle, giving yourself some headspace and room to really tune into the energy and the idea that's ready to come through you. So a lot of new, exciting ideas. And one of the things that pops out for you, there are these wonderful peace lilies down here. Beautiful, beautiful. So just having that moment to find peace in nature. Wonderful. And Tammy. All right. And I know the lovely Sydney is with us, so I'm going to pull a card for her too. So for Tammy, what is the one most important thing that she know going into the lunar eclipse energy? Ooh, Knight of Wands. This is a fun one. This reminds me of like Indiana Jones, the adventurer. He's out there for excitement. He's going for it. So if you remember the Page of Pentacles a moment ago, he was standing there and he was looking at his beautiful pentacle, admiring it. This guy, he's taking the charge. His horse's hooves are up and he is leaping for it. all those mountains represent challenges, and they're teeny tiny. You can leap over them with great ease and without hesitancy. There's head down, going for it. So right now, the most important thing is that definitely to go for it. You're on an adventure, and the challenges ahead are going to seem teeny tiny as you take this wonderful leap into the next part of your adventure. Awesome. All right. And for Sydney, Sydney had a bunch of cards jump out. Holy cannoli. Okay. So we're going to kind of read this as is, because when the cards jump out of the deck, it's important to take a moment to see what's happening. So Sydney has a lot going on. The Queen of Cups showed up first, and that was right side up. And the Queen of Cups is a very nurturing, intuitive energy, very, very mothering, and taking the time to, this is kind of like the friend that you turn to kind of listen to you. So Sydney most likely has that wonderful empathic nature where friends naturally turn to her and want to share their story, just like her mom. And Wheel of Fortune popped out next. So this was one of those cards that came out upside down. And when a card comes out upside down or reversed, there's a couple of different things going on. Either the energy is being blocked, or the energy's there, but something's just a little bit off. So Wheel of Fortune is an opportunity to say, there's a lot going on around me right now. The world seems to be spinning, but there is that ability to find the eye of the storm, the center where things aren't as crazy. So Sydney might be discovering that things seem a little chaotic right now. There's so much going on. It's hard to find the balance. It's out of her control. And the final card that popped up to help with this is Strength. Strength means that deep down inside, if she has what she needs to find her center, she can tame the chaotic craziness going on around her by simply taking a moment to breathe and kind of blocking out the world. And you have that wonderful infinity symbol again. So something that, like an activity that connects her to peacefulness, to ease. So it doesn't seem like everything keeps happening to her out of her control. Wonderful. All right, Pamela's here. Okay, so Pamela, we are going to pull a card for you. So from here, what is the most important thing that Pamela knows going into this energy tomorrow of the full moon lunar eclipse? I'm going to shuffle just a little bit more, see if somebody pops out. Okay. Ooh, Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is fun too. So again, an earth-based card, Pentacles. She's focusing on the physical, the material world, and she's taking a moment to reflect, right? She's not running around. She's not on a horse. She's not galloping through the woods or running. She's seated on her throne. She's very accomplished. She knows what she's doing. She's very successful. So she's taking a moment to just evaluate. What have I done? What have I accomplished? Where do I want to go next? What I'm getting for you right now is a moment to take that kind of account is what I want to say. Some of the things that are popping out to me for you on this card, because there are a lot of different pieces to it. When you read the tarot, you want to notice what's happening in the picture. Yes, all of the cards have specific standardized meanings that we go with, but again, sometimes some things will pop out more than others when you're reading. And right now, this beautiful little head on the armrest is popping out. And to me, at first, it looked like a ram, but it almost looks like a billy goat. But the message that I'm getting is, if there's an area where you felt a resistance or stubbornness, right? So here we are, we're getting to the full moon. What is the most important thing that you're aware of is that, has there been something blocking you from enjoying your successes as a businesswoman, your successes as being head of your household, and finding that balance between pouring energy into work and also being present at home. So if there's something to release, to let go of, be aware of that. That seems to be coming up. Something that might have been a little bit stubborn and hanging on around you. Okay, Wendy, hello. All right, so what's the most important thing for Wendy to know going into this energy tomorrow? Okay, 10 of Wands. This is a card that says, girl, you have been working hard. You are almost there. Don't give up. It is a struggle. He is carrying all the sticks. So when we talk about the energy of the tarot, telling the story, we start at the 0 or the ace, and we go, well, that would be more like a 1 in the minor arcana, and you go all the way to the 10 and then the court card. So this is like the end of the story. So again, full moon is the opportunity to release, to let go of something. So what you can be aware of as you go into tomorrow's energy is check in with all of the projects and ideas you have, because you're carrying an awful lot and your head is down and you just keep pushing through it and working. And he doesn't realize how close he is to home, to his goal. So take a moment to pause, to look up, to know that you're almost there. You're so close. So if there's, a project or an idea that's just been weighing you down, hang in there. Hang in there and give yourself a moment that if you realize that some of these projects and ideas are not helping you get to your goal, take that pause to reevaluate and see if it's still worth carrying, or if you can get to the end goal and home a little bit faster by laying down one of those wands. Okay, so Liz, hello, glad you made it. All right, so we're gonna ask for Liz, what's the one most important thing that she be aware of going into tomorrow's energy? There we go. Ooh, the star, hope, faith. This is that moment where you step outside in a wonderful evening sky and you look up and you see a million stars all at once. And as you see those stars, you realize, wow, they're limitless. It's unlimited possibilities. So if there's been an area, as you go into tomorrow, if there's been an area that you feel has been blocking you from really connecting to your faith, to keeping you kind of downtrodden, a place where you just couldn't connect to your hope, be ready to release that, because tomorrow you're going to run into the energy of great hope and possibilities, limitless possibilities. So that means dream big. How good can you stand it? All right. Yay. All right, Winifred, I will pull a card for you. So what is the one most important thing that Winifred know going into tomorrow's energy? Ooh, 7 of Pentacles. I love this one. This is that time of, you're not quite to the harvest, but you're at that point where you're saying, okay, how do I want to say this? My crop yielded. He's a farmer, he's looking back, he's like, let's say I planted pumpkins. How many pumpkins have grown so far? I'm not ready to pick them quite yet, but have my methodologies, have my strategies been serving me well? Do I want to keep applying these strategies on this path? If so, fantastic. So it's a time for you tomorrow to reevaluate your systems, your strategies, reflect back. Is it bringing you to your heart's desire, to where you really want to go? And of course, it's Pentacles, which is physical, so very much your resources. Are you on the path of creating the income you want, of creating the profit? Is the energy that you're pouring into your work being reflected back, a return on your investment? That's awesome. Elle, oh, I'm so glad you made it. I interviewed the wonderful Elle. Well, I interviewed her a couple days ago, but the interview ran today. Okay, so what's the one most important thing Elle know going into tomorrow? Okay, 5 of Pentacles. So this card is a little intense at first, but remember, with all of the cards, it's not like there are necessarily bad cards and good cards in the tarot deck, because cards that look perfectly wonderful could sometimes not be so great, and cards that look terrible sometimes could be a very good thing. Now we're talking about what is the energy to be aware of tomorrow as you go into tomorrow, that full moon lunar eclipse, knowing that everything, even if it's a planet, like if you're connecting to the energy of Mercury, because we're in Mercury in retrograde, you want to connect to the high frequency vibration of Mercury, which is going to be great for you in reassessing, reorganizing, reprioritizing, resting, slowing down, versus the lower vibration of it, which is going to tune you into miscommunication, technology errors, missed appointments, and things like that. So with this card, I want you for a moment to notice that there's this beautiful stained glass window in the card. And the one lady, she's got her head down and she's kind of trudging through it, just focusing and pushing on through. but the little one behind her is looking up. And this again is a sign of faith and of hope. 5 represents the halfway point between the ace and the 10. So this is a time of challenge, of transformation, of transition. So look for the signs of hope. Ask for the signs as you move into tomorrow. Am I on the right path? Because you're right at that precipice where sometimes it feels like, oh, things aren't shifting. It's not changing. Is this going to work? Am I going forward? And take a moment to ask for those signs and know that this is just a card that represents the challenge during the transition. It's always a little bit kind of uncomfortable when we're shifting into something new. So if tomorrow is a little bit uncomfortable, ask for signs that you're on the right path and in the right direction. Okay, so Alicia, all right. Elle, hello. Oh, you're welcome, Deanna. Anne, hello. Yes, welcome. You are brand new. I'm glad to have you. So I will pull a card for you, Anne. So we're going to say, what is the most important thing that Anne be aware of moving into tomorrow's energy? Okay, the Emperor. We're getting a lot of major arcana cards tonight, which is so much fun. So we have the minor arcana and the major. And I always describe the major arcana kind of, if you think about reading tarot like looking at a weather forecast. Remember, the cards aren't happening to you. It's just telling you what's going on with the weather around you. And then you get to make a decision as to how you want to engage. So if you turn on the news in the morning and you see, oh, it's going to be storming this afternoon, you might decide, all right, well, I'm not going to take the kids to the pool. We'll wait until the storm passes. Maybe tomorrow, because it could have been perfectly sunny in the morning. But you're aware, you make a decision, and you have a really nice experience because you're not caught in thunder and lightning at the pool. Now, if you didn't check the weather, then you might have gotten caught in the storm, and it might have been a bit of a frustration to everyone around you. So having this as a forecast, it just allows you to say, okay, this is the energy I need to be aware of tomorrow. And so for you, Anne, it's the Emperor. This is a card that really represents someone who has been around the block, who knows what they're doing. They're very, very accomplished. This is somebody who would be at the top of their games. Well, I wouldn't even say top of their game because it's beyond that. It's even a few years beyond. They have become very successful at what they do. They are the expert. And again, the Ram shows up. So as you go into tomorrow, if there's been an area where you feel like you haven't fully embraced your expertise, you haven't fully celebrated your accomplishments, then take a moment to pause and to see where you can release in your life to make room for honoring how far you've come and what you've accomplished. All right. Thank you, Tammy. You're welcome, Chanel. Cindy Lou, wonderful to have you. I will pull a card for you. Okay, so what is the most important thing that Cindy know moving into the energy of tomorrow? Okay, the 7 of Cups. This is a fun one. This reminds me, I always go back to Indiana Jones. I should have worn my hat today. But you remember Indiana Jones and I think it was probably the Holy Grail. I can't remember the names of the movies. But he finally gets to the tavern, the cave where all of the grails are. And the Nazis in there as well. And they're trying to figure out which is the Holy Grail. And they're looking at all these different grails. And the Nazi picks up a beautiful gold jewel encrusted chalice and he gets ready to drink from it, and of course it's not the right one. Hashtag spoiler, sorry if you haven't seen it. And then of course Indy goes to one that's very humble and just not loud or eye attracting at all, and Indy chooses the right one. But the idea is that right now, Cindy Lou, you might be experiencing a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of things to choose from, and you're trying to decide, which is going to be the one that really leads me on the path. And because we're talking about heart's desire tomorrow, to that heart's desire. So know tomorrow, the energy that you need to be aware of is that you're going to have a lot of options available to you. So give yourself space and time to kind of clear away the how do I want to say this? It's almost like smoke and mist, like waving a hand. Sometimes people will say, oh, look at the shiny object over here, and they'll be doing something over there. Give yourself the time to really sit down, and I would invite you to journal and to just do a brain dump. And as Elle would say, don't censor yourself on that brain dump, but allow everything to pour out, and then go back and circle the words or highlight the ones that really stand out to you, where you feel your heart go ba-bump. Because the Cups is a card of emotion as well as intuition. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with your choices tomorrow, take a moment to journal so that you can get a clear picture of which direction is best for you right now. So it doesn't feel so kind of misleading or misguiding, because there's so much to choose from. All right. Oh, thank you, Tammy. I'm glad you loved my tarot show. Okay, Karen, yay, you're here. Okay, so we will pull a card for you. So for the wonderful Karen, what is the most important thing she knows going into the energy tomorrow? Oh, the World card. Haha, it's popped up again. And that's so fantastic for the full moon energy. So it's showing that there has been a cycle that's completed. And this is going to be a large cycle, meaning that it's not a tiny, small cycle. Like sometimes, we finish a book, right? Oh, we've completed the cycle of reading the book. Or we've completed the cycle of getting through all of the Stranger Things episodes. But this is going to feel like quite an accomplishment tomorrow. So make room and space for yourself to really honor your accomplishments, what has really been completed, so that you feel that fullness in your heart. All right, wonderful. Yay, Michelle, you're welcome. Valerie, you're here. I will pull a card for you. Valerie, it's so great to have you. So what's the most important thing that Valerie knows going into the energy tomorrow? Oh, this is interesting. 7 of Cups popped up again. Okay, so 7 of Cups. One of the things, too, to remember is there's this figure here in front, who sometimes could represent ourselves, looking at all the options. But also the neat thing about the lunar eclipse tomorrow that I invite you to kind of play with is that what makes it a lunar eclipse is the fact that the earth comes between the moon and the sun. The earth comes between the sun and the moon, or the moon and the sun. I guess I could say it either way. And the earth casts a shadow on the moon, and the moon reflects it back to us. That shadow self, which some of you guys may have heard along the way. It's definitely a major topic in a lot of self-development books talking about our shadow self. Are there sides to us that kind of trip us up at times, sides to us that maybe are hidden in the dark and we're not so quite aware of them because the light hasn't been shone on them. This could even be represented as patterns that keep coming up and tripping us up. There was a great example given today by one of my teachers I loved from the book Finish. And it was a story of a man named Henri. And Henri loved building boats. And he would build boats after boats after boats. But here's the thing. He never completed a boat. He never got to that world card. Because what ended up happening was right before he would finish the boat, he would tear it apart because deep in his heart, he was afraid of the ocean. So he may not have admitted it to himself that he was afraid of the ocean, but there was always a reason why the boat never got completed and never moved forward. So that's one example. But even in our everyday life, you can think of that moment like I auditioned for a play back in college. I'd been in one play with this director and it was wonderfully fun. And he said, I'd love you to come out and try for this part. Now, I was not a theater major. I was a business major. I really didn't have time for the theater. I was so honored that he chose me to come audition, but I knew I couldn't do it. But I didn't want to fail like your ego, like you want to do well in the audition. But in the end, I totally flubbed the audition. And I know that no matter like how my heart would have loved to be in that play, or my head loved to have been in that play, deep down inside, my heart wasn't in alignment with it. So you start to see, okay, there's a disconnect here between my heart's feeling, the energy behind where I'm vibrating, and what my head thinks or wants to do. So I hope that makes sense, Valerie. I would encourage you tomorrow to just take a moment to pause to see if there is something that maybe has been hiding in the shadows that's coming to light, to be aware of that. Something that might have tripped you up in the past that won't any longer. Hello, Evangelia. So good to have you. So I will pull a card for you. So what's the most important thing that Evangelia be aware of tomorrow? Queen of Swords. I love this. She is smart, intelligent, and she goes straight to the point. I love this because the swords represent the element of air as well as the mental realm, the mind. So she is witty, she is logical, analytical, emotions aren't getting in her way. So tomorrow, allow yourself that opportunity to be aware of the energy that you can tune into of being very analytical, logical, coming to decisions easily, and take advantage of that, move forward with it, especially if there's areas in business or in life where you've been at a stalemate. Wonderful. Oh, Pamela, I'm glad you spot on as always. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Yay. Can you have all the cards, Valerie? I know these are really cool. Brenda. All right. I will pick you, of course. All right. So what's the most important thing that Brenda know going into the energy tomorrow? Okay. I got to clear the deck a little bit more. A bigger clear. Bum, bum, bum. Sometimes you just get used to shuffling the cards and you're like, oh, they're not answering me quite like they used to. Okay, so Brenda, I get the Page of Cups for you. So pages represent a youthful energy as opposed to the Queen that we just got, which represents more of a mature energy. Age is relative with this, right? This is just representing a playfulness, a curiosity, intuition. So tomorrow, the energy that's best for you to be aware of is paying attention to those little hunches and inklings and being playful with it. There are those days where it's fun to suspend disbelief and say, you know what? Maybe just for today or just for the hour, if I get a feeling, so that's the cups, the water element, if I get a feeling, I'm gonna follow it. Like if you get a feeling to call an old friend, you call them. And they're like, oh, how'd you know? I was just thinking about you. Or maybe you get a feeling to check the stock market. I don't know why that popped into my head, but it did. Or maybe you get the feeling to, you know what? Kick off early from work or have dessert before dinner. But give yourself permission to follow those hunches and inklings and be playful about it. So that youthful energy where the cynicism and the frustration sometimes of having lived life and seen many things can hold us back from just being playful and trusting those inklings and feelings. Wonderful, yay. And Steph, hello. And Valerie, good, that explains so much. Glad to hear it. All right, so Steph, we'll pull a card for you. What is the most important thing that Steph know going into the energy tomorrow? All right, ooh, this is a fun one too. The Hermit. The Hermit is a card of introspection and turning inward. He's also shining a light for all the others that are coming along a similar path that he did. So you've got the beautiful mountains beneath his feet. So again, symbolically, that represents the challenges. He's surmounted, what's the word I want? He's overcome a lot of challenges. He's reached the top of the mountain, and he has that opportunity to be a mentor to others and to really shine a light. So tomorrow's energy, give yourself the thing that you can be aware of is give yourself that moment, again with Mercury retrograde, to pause and to really look within and say, where can I shine a light for others? A path that I've been on where I may have struggled, I may have run into pitfalls or challenges, that opportunity to help others, to be a teacher and a mentor. All right, wonderful. You're welcome, Elle. Amy, wonderful to have you. I will draw a card for you. Good, Cindy. I'm not sure if you go by Cindy or Cindy Lou. I love Cindy Lou. And I'm glad that was perfect for you. You're welcome. Okay, so Amy, what is the most important thing that Amy know going into the energy tomorrow? And a card jumped out for you. Now they're all fun to me, I love it. But this is a fun one because this one, the Six of Swords, is representing a move of sorts. Moving from troubled water, you've got this kind of ripply water, to calm seas ahead. Moving from what may have felt kind of wobbly and, no solid grounding or footing to solid dry land. There's wonderful land back there with the trees that they're heading towards. In the boat to be aware of, though, is that she's got, this lady, along with her little one, has got these 6 swords that are coming with her. And the swords represent the air element or the mind, the thoughts. So this card always reminds me of where you go, there you are. So tomorrow, this is really a cool card for tomorrow because it's saying, pause, take a moment to evaluate what thoughts do you keep moving with you from place to place to place. There's a great story that I've told many, many times that I love so much, but it's about this guy who lived in a little small town, and in this little small town, he just decided everybody is terrible. They're inconsiderate neighbors, they're loud, they're rowdy, they let their doggies go poopy everywhere, they cut you off in traffic. I can't stand it anymore. I'm leaving this town. The people are terrible. He packs up his house all into his car with a little U-Haul, and he heads out for the horizon. And he's driving. He drives for like 15 hours, and he hits his little service station, the next small town, and he says, all right, I'm gonna get out, fill up the gas tank, and ask the attendant here, what the people are like in this town. And so as the attendant comes out and he asks, the guy asks the question, the attendant goes, all right, well, what were the people like in the town where you just came from? And the guy said, oh, they were terrible. They were inconsiderate, rude, terrible people. And the attendant goes, oh, same thing here. Because if that's what we're focused on, that's what we're going to see, and that's what we're going to keep getting. So there's an opportunity to really release thoughts that haven't been serving you, that you don't want to keep bringing around with you to each move. All right. So I hope that helps, Amy. Valerie, yay. Oh, you're absolutely feeling that right now. Okay, that's good to hear. So yeah, so just taking that time to make a shift. All right, Debbie, hello. Wonderful to have you. You are new to me here, so we'll pull a card for Debbie. What's the one most important thing that Debbie knows going into tomorrow's energy? A card kind of popped out. I'm just going to grab them. Okay, so this came up already once, and so I want to share it again. 5 of Pentacles. It's that halfway point, that transition point. Sometimes this card can feel like a lack, right? A resource lack, monetary lack, saying, I just don't seem to have what I need in this moment to make ends meet, or that feeling of being out in the cold. Literally, they're out in the snow and they're looking in at the warm, bright light in the church, beautiful stained glass window. So tomorrow's energy, what I invite you to do is allow yourself the space. If you're running up against this feeling of, I keep trying so hard and I'm still out in the cold. I keep working and putting all this energy and effort into time into moving the needle forward, but I'm still feeling like an outsider looking in. I invite you to focus on whatever beauty is around you, to begin to shift your energy. So release the energy of feeling separate and outside, removed, and give yourself the opportunity to feel belonging, embraced, as if you could just go like, oh, there's a door right here, and somebody outside saying, oh my gosh, you're freezing, come on in, I've got a wonderful meal for you. Oh my gosh, and these warm blankets, let me get you some nice slippers, we'll put your feet up, right by the fire. Give yourself that moment to open to the possibility that the universe is really cheering us on, that the universe, that God wants to, and gets so excited when we succeed, when we find that joy in our life. So open up to the beauty and the possibilities. All right, Steph, so true. Okay, good. Yes, all right, wonderful, awesome sauce. I love that. Yes, going to calmer waters. Hello, Lexina. All right, so this will be the last card I pull. Lexina, you made it in just under the wire. I love it. So what's the most important thing that Lexina know going into tomorrow's energy? Okay, so again, this tomorrow is the opportunity to release, to let go. That's the full moon energy. What are you ready to let go of? What is no longer serving your highest? The extra energy of the eclipse, and I was mentioning this a little bit with the card that came up for Valerie when you saw that shadow figure, is that the moon itself is going to be reflecting the Earth's shadow back to us. So it's that idea of like, we all of a sudden get that moment to take a peek into the areas that we like to kind of just put a blinder on, like, oh, surely everything's okay. Like, I can keep smoking, 3 packs a day. It'll be okay, right? Like great grandma Joe, she smoked, all the way until 92 kind of thing. I don't smoke, by the way, but that's just kind of what popped into my head. Because sometimes, right, we see these people in our lives who seem to complete the impossible. You see these octogenarians interviewed and they're like, yeah, my Dr. Pepper every day and my cigar and my like box of Cheetos or something. And you're like, wait, what? How did that work? What about this eating healthy thing with vegetables? So there are some times where we just kind of put blinders on, and maybe we'll even find reasons to support our story or our beliefs. But ultimately, every card has that high energy frequency and that low energy frequency. It's just how are we going to tune into it? So that's why I set this up, Lexina, because this looks like kind of one of the intense, scary cards, but it's not. It's a wonderful moment for tomorrow to say, you know what? This is a big, big day for clearing for you, Lexina. You're going to find that you have the opportunity to release a lot of habits and patterns that maybe you might have kept yourself in the dark about, or you just were too busy to take the time to look at because, hello, life. You're going to be able to release them so you finally find freedom, so that you finally find the ability to unshackle yourself and to move forward. It doesn't have to feel so heavy. It doesn't have to feel so impossible. You don't have to feel trapped. So this is the card of the devil, which I know is like, oh my God, that's so scary. But take a moment here. I'm going to show this again because I know it's an intense card. So everybody ground, roots from your feet down into the earth. Here's the thing. You have these two people here, basically like Adam and Eve. This is another kind of part of the storyline after the card of the lovers, where a choice was made, right? So in the Garden of Eden, they chose to eat from the tree of knowledge, and so are good and evil, and they had that awareness, that awakening. Now, you still have Adam and Eve, and maybe let's say they had that decision they could make, and maybe they were tempted to make a choice that didn't have their best or highest interest in mind. So, for me, that could be definitely what the devil card represents for me is I'm tired, maybe I'm feeling kind of sad or blue and I just need a boost. I will go for the bag of Ghirardelli chocolate chips and I will have that wonderful dopamine release in my brain. And, I just love it. But it's no good for me eating so many Ghirardelli milk chocolate chips. Like, can't even pretend it's the good stuff. It's not even the dark chocolate. That would be a devil card energy for me. But these people at any time, this is not happening to them. Whenever this card shows up, it's something that we're doing to ourselves that isn't helping us in the long run. It's just hurting us. So you can at any time free yourself from the shackles, go back to that energy of the Lovers card and make a choice that really lights up your soul to find the liberation and freedom. So tomorrow, take advantage of that shadow side being lit up and see what habits or patterns can be released so that you can experience freedom and not feel so shackled. You're welcome, Lexina. Thanks. I know you're coming all the way from Australia. I'm so excited that the times work. Yay. And Jane, I have to pull a card for Jane, the amazing Jane, because you're in the intuitive energy adventure. All right, so what's the most important thing that Jane know about tomorrow's energy for her? Okay, King of Pentacles. So this is a fun card to end on. This is a card that represents the Midas touch. If you have been looking to manifest something, go for it. So tomorrow's energy is a wonderful opportunity for you to say, what can I touch that will turn to gold? Where does your heart really guide you? And yeah, the animals are really standing out to me today, but the energy, it's more of like a lion, it looks like to me, but it might be a different animal. To me, it's showing up, I guess, as a lion, even though it seems to have pointier ears. Anyway, but it represents that king of the jungle energy to me. So as you go into tomorrow, and you'll also notice that he's standing on the head of a dragon. That's a little bit harder to see here, but conquering the dragon, so to speak, feeling well accomplished. I keep coming back to that, but tomorrow really will be a day where if we can release the things that have been the patterns, the habits that have been not serving our highest, you're gonna feel like you've conquered a lot of dragons. So good day for manifesting tomorrow, Jane. All right, thank you guys. Oh, you're back in New Zealand at the moment, Lexina. Oh, wonderful. Oh, I'm glad that's so cool. We have another friend in the group who's in New Zealand. We'll have to try to connect you with Maggie at some point. I don't know what part of New Zealand she's in, but it's kind of like when you're overseas and you're like, oh, you're from America. Are you from New York or California? I love that. So yeah, so she's somewhere in New Zealand too. Thanks, Tammy. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. It was wonderful, wonderful to have you join me live. If you are looking to harness the energy of the full moon even more, oh, you're welcome, Jane. If you're looking to harness that energy, I'm so excited. Tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m., so kind of right in the middle of when the moon apexes and when we go to that full partial eclipse, I'm gonna be leading a very special sacred practice, only a half hour long, short and simple, but 3 specific energy practices that you can use to dissolve and release the karma that has been passed down through the ancestral line so that you can feel freedom and stop repeating the patterns and habits that have been coming up over and over and over, as well as giving you an opportunity to really find freedom, to follow your heart, tune into what that is, and move forward in the direction that you were born to live. So thank you so much for joining me. You're welcome, Lexina. So great to have you. Thanks for the purple hearts. I feel very, very ridiculous. I didn't realize it'd be so purple on screen. So thank you. Oh, yay, Tammy. I'm so glad you're coming tomorrow. So I will have the link with all the full details in the description above and comments below. Have a great night, you guys, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for playing with me. Bye.